One of the things I talk about in the book is this idea of Jesuit indifference, which means sort of detachment. So when I was getting ready to get missioned as a young Jesuit, I got to the point where I felt equally happy to go to either the Jesuit Refugee Service or the Nativity Schools in Boston. And so I thought, oh, I'm actually detached and indifferent, probably for the first time in my Jesuit life. So at the time, there was a wonderful Jesuit who was the director of formation named Marty McDonnell, who some of you may know. And I figured that since he was just a temporary director of formation, he was something of a figurehead and really wouldn't make any decisions. So I walked in all pleased with myself, and Marty said, well, he says, what are you thinking about for your next stage, which is called Regency? And I said, well, I'm indifferent. He says, are you? And I said, yes, I am. And he says, what are you indifferent between? And I said, either the Nativity School or working for the Jesuit Refugee Service, assuming that he'd say, well, I have to talk to the provincial, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, in that case, you're going to the Jesuit Refugee Service. I said, really? He said, yes. He says, and I think they need you most in Africa, so call up the person in Nairobi and tell him you're coming. And I said, oh. So I went outside and I met one of my best Jesuit friends, and he said, what happened? And I said, I think I'm going to Africa. And he said, you don't look too indifferent now.